starting down the hill at once. Rick was relieved to think that Elisabetta always followed his strict instructions and kept the doors bolted. A few sharp words would send the man packing. Rick's blood froze when the intruder raised the latch of the kitchen door, opened it, and went inside. Spurring forward, the sheriff sent his stallion thundering down the hill. He drew his six-shooter, leaped to the ground, and sprinted to the house. A badly frightened Elisabetta, her coal-black hair tumbling down her back, had been driven into a corner of the kitchen by the intruder, who brandished a short, double-edged knife.
"You got no reason to be scared, lady," he said. "We'll have us some of that there supper, and after we have a mite of lovin', I'll be on my way."
Rick burst into the room. "You picked the wrong house, mister," he said. The intruder grabbed Elisabetta, pulled her in front of him as a shield, and held the knife to her throat.
"Maybe I did, and maybe I didn't," he replied insolently.
"I charge you with breaking into my house and threatening my wife." In spite of his anger, Rick spoke coolly. "As sheriff of the valley, I demand your immediate surrender." "You ain't in charge now, I am," the intruder said. "Make one move and the woman dies." Rick had no intention of being bluffed, but at the same time he couldn't place Elisabetta in jeopardy. An icy chill in his eyes, he weighed the situation, and realizing that a kitchen chair was within easy reach, he hooked a foot around one of the legs and toppled it. The chair fell with a crash, and for an instant the intruder's attention was drawn to the chair. That instant was all Rick needed. He squeezed the trigger. His aim was unerring, and he drilled a hole in the man's forehead. The knife clattered to the floor, and the intruder, an unbelieving expression on his face, sank down slowly, a trickle of blood oozing from the wound. A white-faced, trembling Elisabetta raced to the safety of her husband's arms. Death was not new to her, and she herself had once been forced to kill the man who had used her in his own murderous schemes, but she was badly shaken by this encounter. "He can't hurt you now, honey," Rick said, soothingly. He held her tight, wishing he could protect her for all time from the unpleasant things in life. She had suffered more than her share. She clung to him, her violet eyes almost childlike as she looked at her husband.
"It was my own fault. I didn't bolt the kitchen door."
"Never mind now." Rick kissed her, then quickly removed the body from the kitchen, wrapping it in an old sheet and tying it to the back of a pack horse. "Hold supper for a spell while I ride into town," he said. "I'll be back as soon as I can. I reckon he was alone, but take no chances. Keep your rifle close at hand."
"Oh, I will,"
she promised. She looked at the rifle and knew she could use it, but she wished that she would never have to. Why couldn't she and Rick just live in peace in an idyllic world? Mounting his stallion and leading the pack horse, Rick rode the short distance from the ranch to Sutter's Fort, which some of the newer arrivals were calling Sacramento. His small office and the attached cramped jail stood on the unnamed main street, and his two deputies, both part-time employees, were playing cards when he entered and unceremoniously dumped the dead man's body on the floor. "Go through his pockets and see if you can identify him," he said after explaining what had happened. "Round up the people you find at the saloon down the road and see if they know who it was. I doubt if you'll have any luck, though. I suspect he's just another of the rabble who are coming here to search for gold, but we've got to go through the proper motions before we bury him." Within a short time he was on his way back to the ranch, where Elisabetta had supper waiting. As they ate, Rick said quietly, "I've been telling you ever since gold was discovered up at John Sutter's mill that times are changing here. When we first came out here almost a year ago, there was no need to lock a door ever, day or night. But now the scum of the earth are being drawn to the area. Gold is a powerful magnet, a frightening magnet. Every day new trash are drifting into the valley. Just today I had to break up 2 fights, and the situation is going to grow worse."
"I know I was wrong," Elisabetta said. "My only excuse, and it really isn't a good one, is that I've grown so accustomed to the way of life we've enjoyed here that I found it terribly hard to change."
"I'm well aware of it, honey. And you aren't the only one. The Fosters down the main road lost their clock and most of their furniture the other day when they went to San Francisco without locking their windows. I'm trying to track down the thieves, but I think it unlikely I'll ever find them. There are dozens of idlers in the valley already, and every time